Hi, this is Brad from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and today's guest hails from the great state of Indiana. That's where Mike Pence is from. He needed money to save his farm, so he worked at Atomic Revolutionary Wrestling, Dynamic Wrestling Alliance, IPW, Extreme Hardcore Fighting, Wrestle League, and many more. He's shared the ring with Renvar the Raider, JT Energy, Death Machine, Shane Foster, and many more. On Saturday night, October 3rd, he'll be wrestling for Chicagoland Championship Wrestling at their debut TV taping of Saturday Night Grapple Masters. He'll be going up against the Ewok. So, please, without further ado, the man who is farmer strong, the Amish powerhouse, Zeke Kickem. Hey, how are you doing?
How's it going? I'm all right.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure, absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, before we get into like your past and everything, there's two questions that I don't want to forget. One is, how long does it take to grow your beard from completely shaved down?
Oh God, I don't even know anymore. I've been growing this thing since college, so it's been like 4.5 years. I'm gonna say.
Wow.
Yeah, conservative and be like, that's probably about how long it took to get
safe.
Just this. Yeah.
Okay, then the other one I didn't want to forget. What kind of matches are at Extreme Hardcore Fighting?
Extreme Hardcore Fighting?
I mean, I guess I have an idea, but
that was EHF. So actually, I do a lot of my wrestling in Indiana, which is why you said that's where I'm from. I'm actually not. I'm actually an Illinois-based guy.
Oh, nice. So am I.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's awesome. But EHF was a loose like if I'm correct, it was more of a ECW. The rules are kind of just a
yeah, those are on the side,
and less of a concrete thing. But you got a lot of good name talent there. You got people like Celtic Warrior, and you got you got like all different types of guys. I would definitely take a look at them. They're lots of fun. But yeah, that's where a bunch of my early matches are, and I always enjoyed performing in front of that crowd because it's the South Bend crowd. It's always fun.
Have you ever had to get like stitches from working on this?
No. I never did like the extreme like.
Okay.
Stuff. They brought me in for more traditional stuff. The most I ever got was like. Actually, that's a fun story within itself.
Go ahead.
The most I've taken was like chain to the head, and the most brutal of all of them was the one time I got a bar to cheer for a loaf of bread. That's definitely one of my crowning achievements personally. But I was brought in by two of these guys, H2 and Brandon Stone, the Gingers. That's with an A, not an R. They make sure to let everybody know that.
Sure.
But they brought me in because, if you're a ginger guy, they're going to throw you with other ginger guys, I guess. And they were like, okay, cool. We want you to do we have some Amish friendship bread, which is actually a delicious sweet treat.
Okay.
What it actually was a loaf of like whole wheat, like multi-grain bread that they gave to me, and then we worked an entire match around that fun little gimmick, and it was fun.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so that's what my time in EHF is like.
Okay. Like, have you ever had to do like thumbtacks?
Oh God, no. Not yet.
Okay.
I say yet because I don't know. If you stay in wrestling long enough, you're eventually going to see some thumbtacks. Whether you like it or not.
All right.
The most I've ever gotten was just like I think I took a butt bump, and maybe somebody had not missed a thumbtack in the last match when they were sweeping the ring, and then I had to, take that and throw it off into the gorilla.
All right. So let's go back to young Zeke Kickem growing up in Illinois. What part of Illinois did you grow up in?
So I'm actually, we're talking me. I grew up in Woodridge, Illinois. That's where Zeke and his cousin Harrison have been growing up there and have been growing up. Zeke and Harrison look very similar.
I'm sure.
Is how the story goes. But it's always been visitation. Like he's come over. He's been doing the way that the way that I've been doing it personally is I go. I have been on Rumspringa for a very long time now. And Rumspringa being the point where us Amish folk go off into the modern world to decide whether or not this is what we want to do for the rest of our life. And I've had a little bit of trouble deciding whether or not I want to stay.
Okay.
But I think I've decided. I think I'm getting closer to my decision.
How long have you been deciding for? How long have you been thinking about it?
Years? Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay.
It's been a while. It's been a good long while.
Okay, so when did you decide that you were going to become a professional wrestler?
So this was a long time ago. About 4 years ago. I stumbled into a wrestling gym and saw these folks fighting, and I thought to myself, I could do that. That looks like fun. And now it's 4 years later, and I'm talking on a weird picture.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm sitting here with a fake crowd behind my back. So.
I don't know what they're being very still. I don't quite understand it. But other than that, yeah, people send me shirts. It's tons of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you have interest in wrestling? Like, had you seen it on TV?
I had, my cousin Harrison had been talking about it for about it had been like 6 months before, like when he was in college. He had started getting into it. He got into it later in life once he was an adult.
Okay.
We'll say he was an adult.
Sure.
Are you an adult in college? I don't know. Either way, he started getting into it. And I'm like, that seems like fun. And then, like I said, just random chance, kind of just stumbled into a ring and had some fun with that.
So, okay, let me ask you a question. I want to know what your first day of training was like, and and then the first week. So, your first day, were you anxious to start? Nervous, excited?
Honestly, I've always been a bigger guy, and I've always been like really kind of confident in my own like cardio and like my conditioning. Wrestling tested that immediately.
Wow.
I walked in and they were like, okay, 200 squats, like 100 and something push-ups. We're gonna do these until you can't feel your legs, and then we're gonna chain wrestle.
Oh my God. Had you done any like amateur wrestling before this? Like in high school?
Back when I was a kid, I had done a little bit of amateur wrestling. Other than that, not much.
Okay. And so did they have you doing bumps as well?
Oh, bumps came about that was like once they were sure I wanted to do this. That was, yeah, they waited a little bit for me. They waited like a week, maybe two before they had me. They started breaking me in with that. That's so long and so many bumps ago that I don't quite remember when they had me doing that, but it was around that long.
Is taking a bump for the first time like unlike anything like you had experienced before when you were like if you've fallen or?
I mean, I played football for like 9-10 years.
Oh wow.
I've been falling down my entire life. And then I took my first bump in a ring that I've been told is from the 60s. And it was like falling onto cement, and I didn't know quite how to bump. So kind of gave the back of my head a little love tap, and I had a headache for like 3 days. So that's what my first bump was, and I came back for more.
Did you after your first day, like, did you have, like, when you went home, did you have to, like, think about if I'm going to come back the next day?
Oh,
or,
I
like,
knew I was coming back.
You knew you were coming back. Were there other people training, like, when you started?
Yeah, there was other people that came in. I've seen people come and go because they decide whether or not it's for them. I started with a buddy, and he made I'm going to say the wise decision that he wasn't fully into it, so he wasn't going to force himself to do it. So I'm going to, it was either this is for you or it's not. And we had some people that decide this wasn't for them, so they stopped doing it.
That's good. They don't waste their time or the trainer's time. So like taking a bump now, is that like nothing?
Yeah, more or less. It depends on the ring. It depends on how I'm feeling that day. Like I got some days where it's like it's the end of the day. It's been a long day. I've been working. I've been doing like yard or farm work, and it's just I take a bump, and I'm like, I'm tired. And then I have other days where I'm like, okay, let's go. I want to do all these stuff, all these things, all these spots, and I want to do this, and that, and then I just go all out and I just have fun.
Oh,
or there's a guy with more ring experience than I have, and they just they're like, okay, I need you to take this move, and I just have to do it. All right.
So like, if you wanted to like, or say you fell out of a like a second story window, or even a first story with a little bit of a drop, would knowing how to take a bump help with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That like, I mean, it's still
like if you fell off a horse or.
So since I've started wrestling, I've been in car crashes, and a buddy of mine and I were just driving around, and somebody rear-ended us pretty hard, and we noticed something afterwards, and that was as soon as we felt contact on our backs, we both went immediately into bump position.
Oh, that's hilarious!
Yeah, and we kind of just looked at each other like, "Did you do that?" Like it's. Once you start hitting the ground enough, you learn how to fall.
It's just like second nature.
If I'm falling out, at that point. That said, if I'm falling out of, falling still sucks. So
like falling out a window.
Yeah, since I've started, I've had people ask me several places like, oh, so you can like bump right here, you can do that. I guess. You got the money for it?
Yeah, totally. It's not like every time you're bumping onto feathers, it's still going to hurt.
His back has a punch card. There's only so many times you can punch in and out before
before your brain starts melting.
Yeah, until I'm finally like, okay, cool. I have to like turn my entire body in order to see who's behind me.
So do you have to do a lot of work as far as like contacting promoters, or at this point, do they come to you?
Oh, it really
to work a show.
I'm still new to this. I'm still getting my name out there. So it's a lot of me reaching out or just showing up and help putting the ring together, help doing work. I'm still new. So I just do what I got to do. I pay my dues. I reach out, I shake hands, and I get my name out best I can. But ball gets rolling. People see what work I can do. People see what I can do, and they start reaching out from there. That's how it works.
Yeah. Well, the CCW events are going to be on Amazon Prime. That's amazing.
That is really
your reach. Even if you got a fraction of the 150 million people it attracts, like it's a big deal. So hopefully, all right. Have you wrestled Ewok before?
Oh yeah, me and Ewok have had plenty of matches before.
Sorry.
Oh my God, he hits hard.
Yeah, I see he's been like maybe taunting you on like on social media.
I've been told about that, but
So do you have? So when you work with someone, like you've worked them several times, how do you like say for your match on the third? Are you bringing different elements to this match than you would have like in other matches with him that you've had?
Yeah. Yes, of course. I mean, there's got to be different stuff that I've got to do to get to him. Like this way hasn't worked, so I got to try another. This is how it works. You got to learn from your past experiences and see what you can do.
Yeah.
Like but also it's as active as I've tried to be during the last few months. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's hard. Like I've incorporated naps into my routines since this thing has started.
Every time shaking the ring rust off nowadays is becoming more and more of a necessity.
Yeah, I was telling someone last night, I haven't been to a show since February. Like, and that feels like very odd, and I'm not even participating.
Yeah, it's really weird. Knowing that life just kind of hit pause on the whole wrestling thing that I was like, okay, cool. I'm dedicated myself to this. I'm starting to build up steam, and then
prior to COVID, were you either working or going to shows like every weekend?
I was trying my best to do so, like between balancing wrestling and work life and family and all that kind of stuff. I've been trying to do my best with that. And then COVID decided that it was time to take a break on everything. So,
reset.
I didn't really quite have a decision, considering that wrestling isn't, exactly social distancing. So yeah, that's just what are you gonna do? I got back to it as soon as I could, but
were you excited?
I was excited. I was also a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm like, it has been most of the year since I've last been in a wrestling ring. What am I going to do? And then I took my first bump, and I'm like, okay.
So do you have a day of a routine you do before the show?
Before a show, the day previous, I'm pretty much just thinking out like what I could do. Because it really depends on who I'm wrestling that night, because it's like I got to think about like, what's this guy gonna do, and how do I gotta counter it, and how do I make the most out of every second I have up there.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just I do my workout, I do my push-ups, I do whatever I gotta.
Yeah. Does the promoter tell you how long the match needs to be usually?
If they're nice, they'll do it like a week in advance. If they're nice, or if they have if they're really good at planning ahead, which I don't ever expect that because of how volatile wrestling can be.
Yeah.
So usually it's night of. They're like, okay, you guys got this long to go, and then but yeah, usually it's night of, which makes sense.
So, what I want to ask you was that when you're doing all this traveling, on the weekends and stuff, when there's no like virus going around, is it hard to have a relationship with anybody? Between working and working out and wrestling and.
I mean, it's a really busy schedule, but that's just life. That's how it's always been for me. It's just been like dealing with. It's like there's always something.
Yeah.
Wrestling was just another something when it came to dealing with interpersonal relationships. That said, it is always a really fun talking point to be like, hey, look, I could lift a full-grown human being.
Yeah, totally. I could put this guy in the hospital for 10 days.
I did this with a guy, and
totally.
I threw him that way. I'm not going to deny that's really fun to have. Or like, I could throw two full-grown people onto my back and then walk around.
It's like having a superpower, being able to do that. I wish. My kids would like me more. Okay, I have a question for you. I'll make this as the last serious question. Is it really, is it hard, is it very competitive coming up and trying to get onto shows and get your name out there? Like, do you feel like you're competing against other, wrestlers trying to work their way up?
I'm going to give no, I'm just going to go for it.
Okay.
Yes and no. So the way that there is always that little twinge of, I started at the same point that this guy did, or this guy started after me. Why is he already getting these positions? Why is he already doing that? But that's just part of the game. So yeah, do I sometimes feel like I'm competing? Yes, I'm competing with other people to try and get on shows and try and get all these things doing. But ultimately, I just got to compete with myself.
Yeah.
With other people, I'm not going to dog on them for doing really well and improving themselves. That's just not fair. They've worked their ass off. They've done everything in their power to get where they're going, and it doesn't make sense to knock them down for that.
Oh, sure.
So I never really feel like I'm competing in that sense. I'm competing in the sense that I'm like, okay, cool. That guy can do that, and that guy does that thing really well. What can I do really well, and how can I try and one-up them so that I can stay competitive while not knocking them down for it.
It keeps you sharp.
Yeah, exactly. The competitive is to keep the competitiveness is there to sharpen the edge.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that it's got to be. Other than that, I feel like a lot of the times I'm working with people. Like I've worked with tons of people, and other people have helped like elevate me, like so awesome. Like I can think of so many examples. Jason Page, Ewok, Quinn Whittick, Rob Wilhelm, a Drake Dixon, all different kinds of people. Like you mentioned them earlier. Like all those people that I've competed with. Like I've faced Shogun. I've faced like all those types of people, and I don't feel lesser for them being in like higher positions or doing better than me. Because all that says to me is that cool, up your game.
Yeah, it's possible to do.
Yeah, they are where they are because they worked as hard as they did, and I have to work as hard, if not harder. So
yeah,
it doesn't really bother me, and I don't see the competitiveness in the negative light. I see it as, like I said, sharpening the skills.
So when you go out for a match, it's fun still?
It's still, I mean, yes, it's still fun. It's still it's still high energy. There's nothing like the roar of a crowd, or landing a really nice kick, or I'm gonna be honest, it's really satisfying when a guy hits something really well on you, and you're like, that looks great.
Totally. Sold that well. Okay, so I'm not going to keep you, but I'm going to ask you 5 yes or no questions that are unrelated to wrestling.
Right,
and you literally could say yes or no. If you want to elaborate, that's up to you. But all right, here we go. Do you have any interest in interstellar travel?
No, space is scary.
Okay, that's a very honest answer. I like hearing that. Okay, number 2.
The void of space is terrifying.
Oh yeah, totally. They can't hear you scream in space.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Do you have children?
I do not have children.
Oh, you're so lucky. Okay, are you willing to commit to me right now in front of the entire World Wide Web that if you do ever have a child, you will name it Brad regardless of gender? Can you make that commitment to me right now? I'm gonna take that as a no.
I had to think about it, but I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Have you ever saved the life of an animal?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Have you ever thrown something at a television?
Yeah.
Have you ever thrown something at a senior citizen?
Nope.
Okay. Those are your 5 questions.
I think I might have tossed the controller to my grandpa once, but that doesn't really count.
Yeah, because that wasn't aggressive. I've seen controllers.
I didn't. Here you go, Grandpa. It's not. Think fast.
Yeah, totally. There wasn't a velocity on it.
Yeah.
Well, I've damaged a lot of TVs, like throwing like the Nintendo controller into it and stuff. Just a man.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so besides the October 3rd show at Chicagoland Championship Wrestling, do you have any other appearances between now and then, or after?
Between now and then, no. After that, I have nothing going on. It's still, I'm coming back from basically being like the COVID forced retirement.
Yeah.
For the last however many months it's been.
So do you have to
I got nothing going on.
Do you have to really get back into training for the?
Oh yeah, I want to sharpen the edge again. Make sure I'm show ready before I start throwing myself into all these big shows again.
Totally.
Big and small, I should say.
All right, thank you so much for listening to my questions and actually answering them, and appearing in the same video with me. I appreciate that.
Pleasure's all mine.
All right, you take care and stay safe. I'll come find you at the October 3rd show, and hopefully then afterwards I can get you back on. We can talk about that.
That sounds very good. Thank you very much.
All right, my pleasure. Take care.
Take care.
All right, bye.